to another episode of Voice of Africa. My name is Dr. Mubi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. It's so important. And it's so great to see, the great awakening and return of our people. And the great return is people returning to themselves, and it's happening across Africa, especially if you look at, all the narratives that are coming out of the V-Shot, which show that Africa ain't biting to the point where many of the shots are actually expiring while we're at it. But I've shared a lot of that information on Patreon, so definitely consider joining for as little as $2 a month. I did a show the other day about the 7 pillars of the Babylon system, and a lot of you have been asking me, how do we bring these 7 pillars down? How do we bring down the Babylon system? What is the priority? Which of the 7 pillars is the priority? And I actually want to dive deeper into each of the pillars, which I'll be doing in future episodes, because I know that there are people who are already working in media, in entertainment, in education, in social services to bring out, a paradigm shift. And hopefully, as I touch on each of those, there were 7 pillars that I mentioned. Someone actually commented on Neely Fuller. She had 9, pillars. She added law and some others, etc., that she felt had kept the diaspora in bondage. But long story short, beloveds, it's all mental. It's all mental. And we have to recognize that.
Greetings. Yo, Blacklight. Now, we're about to show you what the sister was saying was said by this man, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in 1930. We didn't have internet. We barely had radio. We didn't have television. We had movies. This was said in Detroit, where I was born and raised, in 1930. But my point is this, that the Muslims, so-called Muslims, well, they Muslims by nature, but they're acting other than self right about now. This was revealed to us in a lesson, the Supreme Wisdom. It was one of the first of instructions given to the Muslims of Temple Number 1, Michigan. Excuse me, Michigan. Temple Number 1, Michigan. You don't hear them talking about this too much. They memorize 120, but you don't hear them memorize this or either speak this too much, because it tells us to get rid of our enemy. You'll see what I'm saying.
Supreme Wisdom Lessons by Master Farad Muhammad to his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for the Lost Foundation of Islam in North America.
Listen.
To the Muslims of Number 1, Michigan. The following is the original rules of instruction to the laborers of Islam, and the title of Muslim given by our Savior before his departure, with a footnote of a few words of explanation to lay pressure upon their minds of their many errors in the past and present, that they may see the light and walk therein. I thank you, Elijah Muhammad. instructions given to the laborers by our Savior W.D. Farad Muhammad. 1. The student must study his assignment lesson number 1. Each student should copy the answers of lesson of Minister Elijah Muhammad and study until the student is able to memorize by heart all answers to of said lesson number 1. Note: here, lesson number 1 is said to be the student's assignment first. Lesson number 1 lays the base of our work today and gives the student a clear knowledge of himself and his heavenly home, the best part of the earth, and who was the enemy to him and his nation, and why the enemy and righteous could not live together, and why was the righteous able to cast out his enemy. This teaches the student what he must do with the enemy of the righteous today. The righteous nation is now living in every part of the planet Earth. Therefore, the enemy must now be removed in every part of the planet Earth.
Now, Dr. Banks' vision to transform Detroit media message and messengers, WGPR TV, 40th anniversary. Motown was happening. We had the radio on lockdown. We had Black Banks. We had, I think it was Home and Mortgage, one of the first black banks in Detroit. See, don't nobody talk about Detroit. Caucasian don't want you to know the real deal on Detroit. But all this was in the 70s. We had Mayor Coleman, Alexander Young. Detroit was over 87% or 90% black. We had Randy Caucasoid out of Detroit. We had a riot in what they call a riot, could have been a rebellion, 1967 riots. And that's when we had scared the Caucasoid half to death, because we weren't playing like marching. No, we didn't march. We didn't picket. We just got to shooting and looting and burning. That's when H. Rap Brown and Stokely and the Messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the FOI, that's when their message. See, Stokely and H. Rap Brown got their message from Malcolm, who got his message from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the Muslims nowadays, they don't talk like that ever since Wallace came and started trying to please the Caucasoid that he took and sold out.
With our deepest condolences here at Detroit Public Television and American Black Journal, to you at WGPR for the passing of Karen Hudson Samuels. I've said a couple times over the past week that Karen and you to some extent, I kind of considered you guys almost co-hosts of American Black Journal, and certainly
that sister there, that sister there took the shot, and right after she took the shot, she died. She was a pioneer in the WGPR history. Very creative black woman. She took that shot, and now she's dead. This is the real government, the first government established.
First book of Moses, called Genesis.
Chapter 1.
By the
In
Most
the
High.
beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed.
So we're talking about divine order. That's a seed of the mind, a sperm. And we're talking about artificial law. This is Black Light.